Interesting. You described a very complex patient population. There's probably not a single symptom, it seems, when a patient comes in. So what was it like trying to design a trial that would best represent the capabilities of the LimFlow procedure, and then sort of shepherd that through the FDA as you think about the PROMISE I study?
Right. So the group of patients in PROMISE I are probably the most completely studied group of patients who have no option for revascularization of any group ever studied. So there have been a number of trials that have looked at medical therapies to treat these patients with vascular growth factors and other things. But in those trials, essentially just a physician who was running the trial decided, this patient doesn't seem like they could have a revascularization, and they enrolled them in the trial. Those studies have shown some benefit, but no real significant limb salvage improvement. This group of patients, the FDA required that we actually have a separate independent board review the patient history. That included the angiograms and a study of their venous anatomy to assure that they had no standards surgical or interventional revascularization options. So these were clearly patients who could not have anything other than this done. And then they went on to have the venous arterialization through a percutaneous approach. I think it's good that the FDA did that because they provide us with a very clearly defined group of patients who go into this, but they're probably the sickest group of patients that have ever been enrolled in a trial to try and study limb salvage in this group of patients.
And so how do you define success coming out of a LimFlow procedure? And then how are you going to be defining our longer term success? Because we have seen procedures where from an episodic perspective, it's successful, yet the long tail on that may or may not be as successful.
That's a great question. Acutely coming out of the procedure, you want to just be sure that you've diverted blood flow adequately into the foot itself. But there are several things that we've learned about the procedure in doing it that are also required, in my view now, to assure that you have a successful procedure. So initially, we were just trying to divert blood flow from an artery into a vein. But what we've learned over time is that the blood doesn't just go backwards through the foot. There's likely some development of an arterial venous communication that allows delivery of blood flow to the capillaries through the distal arterial bed. At least that's my guess. We still don't completely understand the physiology that's going on. But I want to make sure not just that I get venous blood flow into the foot, but that it's directed to the part of the foot where the problem is most significant. And at the same time, we have to maintain antegrade, meaning toward the foot, arterial flow. So we don't want too much blood flow through the venous system that it actually robs the blood flow of the arteries that are supplying the blood flow to the foot. So that's acute success in just coming out of the operating room itself. Over time, success is defined by the patient's ability to retain their limb and have the limb functional. So, I mean, we're doing this to keep patients ambulatory, independent, out of nursing homes, and able to survive potentially independently as well. And again, there's an advantage to doing this percutaneously in that situation as well.